Dear guests, the program will begin shortly. Please be seated and kindly set your phone to silent mode throughout the program. Thank you. Do scan the QR code shown on the screen for attendance purposes. Should you need any assistance, please do not hesitate to ask for help from any committee members in this room. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Zeti Azrul Binti Ahmad, Head Department of Communication, cum the Advisor of Institute of Public Relations Malaysia, Student Association, IPRMSA IIUM Chapter, Mr. Abdul Latiff Puteh, Managing Consultant and Founder of White Associates, Madam Nurul Emilia Diyana binti Abdul Malik, Lecturer of Department of Human Sciences Center for Foundation Study or CFS IIUM, Sister Nur Fatin Iman binti Ahmad Tajuddin, President of IPRMSA IIUM Chapter, Lecturers, Working Committees of PR Lecture Series, Communication Festival 2023, Organizing Committees, Brothers and Sisters. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Communication Festival 2023 Organizing Committees, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to the PR Lecture Series 2023. I am Sister Nur Atira Amira, your MC for today's program. Brothers and sisters, to seek blessing from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala, I would like to invite Brother Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Hanafi to lead the Dua recitation. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, fa'alul lima yurid. We express our gratitude to you for allowing us to attend the PR lecture series, Communication and Career Success in Today's Globalized World, in conjunction with Communication Festival 2023 today. Oh Allah, we ask you for the safety of our religion and the welfare of our body. Oh Allah, Lord of the implementing authority, make the days that we have gone through, starting with your blessing, starting with your mercy, continue with your blessing and righteous guidance, ended with the forgiveness. Make the days that we have gone through spent in your obedience, adorn us with the adornment of the righteous, and clothe us with the ornament of the pious in spreading good behavior, lowering the wing of humility, beauty of conduct, advancing towards excellence, avoiding condemnation, being gracious to the underserving, speaking true though little. Ya Allah, Ya Muhaimin, Ya Aziz, Ya Jabbar. O Allah, show us guidance and adjust our path in ways to achieve happiness and glory. Let us listen to the people who like the good things. Let us avoid doing the bad and evil things. O Allah, bless our life in this gathering and prevent us from harm and unfortunate events. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Thank you, Brother Hafizudin. Dear guests, our program today is a moderated discussion by the two of our speakers that will address issues on the communication and career success in today's workplace. However, before we start our main agenda today, let us all have a photography session. So, I would like to request everyone to stand up for the photography session. Thank you.
Live ke ni? Oh, ada orang tengok ke? Zero. Tak nampak apa-apa ke? Comel Zaira.
Thank you everyone for your cooperation. Now, I would like to invite Sister Moderator and our beloved guest speaker to start our session.
Thank you so much, sisters, for the honor. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon, everyone. Alright, so my name is Nurul Emilia Diyana. You can just call me Dini, and I'll be the moderator for today's discussion. So, without further ado, let us get to know our speakers right here. So, on my right, we have Mr. Abdul Latiff, a managing consultant and founder of White Associations. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for extending the invitation to me. Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamualaikum. Today is Mubarak, right?
Thank you, sir. So, on my right, we have Madam Nurul Emilia Diyana binti Abdul Malik, a lecturer from the Department of Human Sciences, CFS IIUM. Hello, Madam. How are you?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm good, alhamdulillah. Thank you for inviting me over. It feels like, deja vu, coming back to Gombak campus and had the opportunity to meet my very own lecturer, Dr. Zeti, and also my very own lecturer again, Sir Latif. For information, Sir Latif sangat garang. but Dr. Zati sangat straight. Just to share. So whoever is taking class with Dr. Zati, be careful. You can always PM me for tips on how to survive in her class.
Okay, so Alhamdulillah. So for everyone's information, Mr. Latiff here is a strategic communication practitioner. Experience, wow. She is actively sharing content on social media, especially TikTok, on topic about communication, psychology, and she now has almost 13,000 followers on TikTok. Okay, so we already know about most of our speakers, and I'm very sure that you will get so many insightful points from our discussion today from different perspectives and different angles. So we have industry people here, we have an educator and also a social media influencer. So I guess let's just begin our discussion. Mr. Latiff, Madam Amy, brothers and sisters, are you guys ready? Yes! Okay, I'm going to start with the first question. So from our speaker's perspective, what specific communication skills are required to advance a person's career goals? Maybe you can tell us related to your experience. Maybe Sir Latiff will start. Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's begin the discussion. I would like to have a discussion more than anything else. Let's just make this as informal as possible. Are we okay? Yes. Okay, if you are talking about skills as a communicator, now this is the most basic from the very first year, perhaps the very first class, you would have been informed about this. And students, especially comm students, yeah, they're really worried about this particular word when it comes to communication practice. The most basic skill to me as a practitioner is your writing. Simple, to be honest, it's very simple. The rest you will definitely pick it up as you move along, alright? But of course, the fundamentals of writing, that is the most critical if you want to survive, if you want to be successful. The thing is this. If you end up in a communication department, rightly or wrongly, somehow they'll look at the department as the go-to department for anything and everything under the sun. Okay, so meaning, if the CEO's office receives a piece of letter, and that letter is so vague, you don't really know what they're trying to say, what they're asking, and all that stuff. And the secretary, for sure, he or she will talk to the CEO and say, I think we pass this to comms should be able to manage. This is reality. I was a bit shocked when I first started. Some letters that actually arrived or sent to us, put on our table, it goes to comm. And we are supposed to figure out and start doing things so that whatever issues or problems will be resolved. So, firstly, definitely your writing skills. You have got no choice. You really have to brush up. You have to do it right. And this is the best time to learn because you are still studying. Okay. And if you are graduating, you feel that your writing is still not good enough. Well, don't be disheartened. As you practice more writing, you will definitely improve. But you must have the interest to pursue it. Otherwise, to me, you will become a half-baked communicator. Half-baked. And one thing that I totally disagree, when people think of PR or communication as event management, seriously, this is totally wrong. Event management is just a tool for you to use in order to get to whatever goal that you have set. That's all. Okay? So, organizing event, to be honest, from the school days, you would have organized events. The birthday parties and whatever, not at home, right? Weddings, you might be part of it, right? So, no big deal. Seriously, no big deal when it comes to event management. Okay, so your skills are very important as a communicator, writing, and of course, you must continue learning. It is a never-ending pursuit. Never ever think that you have studied enough, now it's just time for you to concentrate and work. While you are working, you have to add on the skills that you have. Your communication skills, the way you talk, the way you behave, the way you carry yourselves, your technical skills. How many of you read economic reports? You do? Okay, good. And then you have an advantage. Now, because depending where you end up, right? If you are working in my case, for whatever reason, I went into financial PR because I spent a lot of time in the financial industry, life insurance as well as banking, commercial as well as development banking. So I spent a lot of my time in that particular practice. Now, I would say this is the serious stuff. I'm not saying other industries are not serious, don't get me wrong, okay? But if you go to hospitality industry, then the whole thing will change a little bit. Basic fundamentals of communication will remain the same, right? It's just that the practice is different. So you tend to do something a little bit more on the other end rather than this on this, at this end. So there will be some differences, but fundamentals of communication is still the same. You will be doing similar kind of work, right? So those are the things. I think if I talk too much, I will never stop.
So,
now we can just continue, right?
Okay, madam, can continue.
Okay, lecturer, we hardly stop every time we start talking. Okay. So to explain further, basically Mr. Latif had explained one important element when you want to communicate is writing. So allow me to add from another perspective, which is for us to be able to communicate effectively, other than we express our thoughts, our opinions, our perceptions through writing, before we express those feelings and those details, we must also observe the stability of our emotion. Because when you talk at the stage of when you are having or when you are experiencing emotional unstable, you will hardly control what you are about to say and also what you are about to write, especially when you are dealing with social media. Social media today is not for your personal account only, because companies today are having their own social media platform, and they require people like you, the communication graduates. They might ask you to handle the account or to create the content. So how are you going to create content if you yourself are emotionally unstable? Okay, so on top of your writing skill, you should also observe the stability of your emotion before you write something, before you say something, especially on social media. Okay, because when we are having face-to-face communication, it will be easier for us to explain and to elaborate further. Okay, whenever ada yang tak faham ke, tak jelas ke, kan people can ask us immediately for us to elaborate. Could you please explain further what you mean by this and this and this? However, when you post something in social media, you can easily be bombarded because communication itself, other than face-to-face platform, they are full of misconception, and people tend to misinterpret your content on individual basis, because we all know communication is abstract. Interpretation is abstract, and the interpretation lies on individual. An individual who interpret things based on their own preferences. Hence, before you write something and before you post something, okay, no matter how good your English is, you have to make sure your emotion is stable. Because when we talk about communication, kita tahu kan there is no communication is unrepeatable and irreversible. So it is irreversible. You can apologize, but you can never undo it. Can never. Especially in social media. Yeah, you may erase your post, you may delete your post, but people can download it at any time. So yeah, before you say something, before you write and you post something, do check on your emotional stability before you proceed to emotional damage. I believe you heard that right. Emotional damage. Say it.
Emotional damage.
Kata jadi lecture, gitu. Invite lagi saya. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So, from what I can see here, that you have to mind your emotional as well, not only your skills. Your emotion affect your writing skills, and once again, writing skill is very important. So people think that communication only on camera. No, no. Your writing is also very fundamental in the workplace. So, okay, so we know that as a communication student, to be better in our career, we must tackle the communication skills and knowledge. But what about people with certain limitations? For example, there are introverts. So, okay, we want to know from the psychological perspective. So, Madam, can answer first?
I love this question. I'm not introvert, but I love to deal with introvert people. I often receive this question now, every time when I teach in class, Madam, I have problem to present. I have problem in presentation. Well, you know, teaching communication is all about presentation, of course. Okay? So, but then again, if you are a communication student and you have difficulties in presentation, that is a major thing. So regardless of your personality, you should always overcome that limitation. Okay, so to respond to the questions, as I said earlier, regardless of your personality, okay, Madam, I am now an introvert person. How am I going to overcome my personality, to fit in my class perhaps, to fit in my job expectation perhaps? So I often tell my student this, I'm going to tell this to whoever person yang bertanya. We need to check the situation that we are in. And I always tell this to the student, be professional. You know, professionalism is not about career perspective. Being students, you can also be professional as well. And one of the definition for being professional is, you should act accordingly to the expectation of a situation. That is what professional means. Okay? You should act accordingly to the expectation of a situation. For example, when you are attending any kind of workshop that require you to present, deep inside you know that you are an introvert, and you keep telling yourself, oh, this is very difficult, I'm kind of introvert person, I never talk in front of the public before. Ataupun budak sekolah agama, I never talk in front of brothers, I never talk in front of sisters before, how am I going to do this? OMG, emotional damage. Okay? So, always remember that you have to be professional, meaning to say you act in a way that is expected by the situation. So, if you are introvert, then introvert. You can be an introvert person in your personal life. But then again, when you attending workshop, when you attending conferences, we require you to act differently. So you should act differently. So, what I try to tell here is that your mental thoughts. So if you keep telling yourself, oh, I am kind of introvert person, I am kind of introvert person, you can never do it. You can never do anything. Madam, mental thought is too cliche. Yes. It is cliche because it is a fact. And fact will hardly change. Itulah, mental thoughts is the biggest limitation in one's life. So you are allowed to be an introvert kind of person in your personal circle, in your personal life. But then when you are a student, where you have presentation assignment, for example, when you join the industry later, where you have to present your project, you know, you have to meet the client, you have to put aside, I'm sorry, but you have to put aside your introvert personality for you to fit in the situation. Then only you can perform. Being introvert is fine. It's no harm. It's not a curse even. Kenapa aku jadi introvert? It is fine, it is acceptable for you to be an introvert person. It's fine. However, you should also tell yourself that I am now in my career, for example. I am now doing my presentation. I should put aside my personal preferences and I should be the one that is expected to be. If you are a student doing presentation, you are expected to present. Okay? And if you join the industry later, you have to close deal, you have to, meet client and all, you should be that expected person. So ingat, introvert is your personal life, being introvert is in your personal life, but being professional in your career and in your daily life. So when should I be, or when should I carry my introvert personality? When you live when you live out of your formal and official time frame. So kalau bekerja, like me kan, I am currently employed. So after office hour, I carry my personal self. That is fine. But during the office hour, I'm carrying my expected self. So just like you can, be back to your introvert type of person after you're done with your presentation. Then you can put on your introvert personality once you are done with your project, once you are done with your client. Still can. So you don't have to experience the absolute change of yourself. Rather, you can have them on temporary basis. Okay? So remember, being an introvert is fine, but you must also change yourself to fit in certain situation. Alright, clear? Thank you.
So once again, your mental state is very important. Mental state, your mind is your own limitation. Okay, so let's hear from Mr. Latiff.
Okay, will you believe it if I tell you I am an introvert person?
No.
Perhaps I'm putting on a mask here because I'm sitting here, I've been required to talk. So I am talking to all of you, sharing my experiences. But deep down, to be honest, I was, or perhaps still am to a certain extent, an introvert person. Just to share with everyone, when I was growing up, even to ask someone for the time, I would be so scared that I wouldn't even ask. When I was growing up, especially when I was in school. For whatever reason, you grow up and then you have this inferiority complex, I assume that's the word that they use in psychology, right? Okay, so, but then again, you see sometimes, like what Madam Emilia, right, was saying, you will find yourself in different situations where you need to react. You have to respond to it. And if you are in the communication department, this is something very interesting. People will always look at you for results, for answers. That is quite strange, to be honest. You can be in a group, you have got the finance side, you have got HR, you have got so many different functions. But since you are in the communication department, when you talk about issues, especially you're talking about what happened, how people will look at us from the outside perspective, outside in. That means you are here, you are in the organization, but you are referring to people outside the organization. Somehow, for whatever reason, they will turn and look at you because you are supposedly the expert. Okay, so rightly or wrongly, it doesn't really matter, but to me, if you are in that particular situation, that's the opportunity for you to push yourself forward. Then you can always try to influence the conversation perhaps, but in order for you to do this, you must know what you're talking about. That's why I asked this now, how many of you read the economic reports? If you go into a business meeting, you can put aside your comm studies, to be honest, because those are the fundamentals. You already mastered it to a certain extent. But you must be able to carry yourself and share your thoughts on a bigger scale. Not just 100% communication, from communication perspective, but it has to be from the other perspective as well. So you need to understand. Now, I have to admit, I'm not a financial planner, for example. I don't really know the nitty-gritty of profit and loss. What does it mean? When you register this number or that number, negative, positive. I don't really know the details, but being in the comm department, you will be asked to write about all those. So this is where your exposure is very, very important. We're talking about introvert or extrovert. But if you choose to be in this profession, you need to put that aside. Seriously, you have to put it aside. You have to push yourself. You must take the opportunity, especially when people challenge you to do things. I've come across PR practitioners, right? This is very sad. A superior of mine was just asking another colleague, can you become the MC for the event? And this colleague is a manager level colleague. Can you imagine manager level? Rightly or wrongly, this person needs to get that particular post. Fine. This person look at the post and said, sorry, I cannot do it. There you go. In a split second, you lose the opportunity to position yourself strongly in front of everyone. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not asking you to boast. Alright? That is also a big no-no in our industry. You're supposed to be very quiet when you need to be quiet. You can be very loud when you need to be loud. But that is something which you yourself have to decide. You have to push yourself. If you think you don't have it, you have to go and look for it. You cannot expect people to do it for you. You will be left behind, far, far behind. This is very sad. Just to share with everyone, when I did my practical training at Sarawak Shell, I went to Sarawak Shell for my practical training. If I'm not mistaken, this more than 2 years ago. I registered on Monday. I went there I flew in on Saturday or Sunday, and then Monday started. I went to office. My supervisor, at the end of the day, called me, Latif, I'm sending you to Labuan for Pesta Labuan. You're going to be taking care of Sarawak Shell booth that weekend. I just joined. I'm not even in industry, just a student, still studying, doing my practical training. Can you imagine how scary it was at that time? I was looking at him, I was like staring at him, and he stepped back at me, of course. I said, you want me to go? Yeah, I want you to go. So what do you do? By the end of the week, I'm supposed to be talking to the public about what Sarawak Shell is all about. They're talking about upstream, the drilling and all that, engineers and all that stuff. I'm supposed to take care of the booth. There's only 2 of us. One officer and me to assist, because I'm a trainee, so they just send a trainee. Right? That's normal. So what did I do? Just to share with everyone. While I was helping the officer to put up whatever that you have put up in your exhibition, every single visual, when I put it up, I will be asking him, Alex, what is this all about? Or how do I explain? What is this and what is that? What is drilling? What is not? What is offshore, onshore? What technology do you use? Because as I move along, panel to panel, I was helping to put it up. I was asking him lots and lots and lots of questions. I was so scared I won't be able to explain when people ask me. And being a trainee, they just, everything, the trainee will have to go to the front. They like to bully the trainees during those days. He's a nice guy. So he was explaining to me, okay, this is how you explain. From left to right. And true enough, when the exhibition started, there was one particular chap that walked in. Normal, gentleman, just wearing slippers, sandals, And then he looked at me and said, what is this all about? Can you explain to me what this thing is all about? So I started explaining to him, okay, there's this jack up, jack down, whatever. You talk about drilling. And then he started probing deeper. It came to a point, this is something which you have to learn. Don't lie. If you don't know, you say you don't know. That's our problem sometimes. We try to cover. Because we feel that if we say we don't know, we look stupid. Right? So he was probing and probing and probing. It came to one particular question, and he asked me, and I looked at him and said, I'm sorry, I don't have that information. I think that's very technical. He looked at me and he smiled. And then he said, okay, actually you have done quite well to explain what this thing is all about. For your info, I am an engineer, offshore engineer at the drilling site. He was just testing out. Well, to be honest, I felt like slapping him. You're still a student, right? You still look dumb and stupid to an extent. I just smiled and laughed at him, and he just smiled and walked off. And then he said, okay, you have done very well. You managed to explain everything. Everything makes sense, except for that particular part, seriously, because I said, I don't know. It's not my job to know to that level. Okay, so these are things that I'm sharing with you. Whether you are an introvert or not, if you decide to be in this particular profession, you have to change. Like what she mentioned just now, it's true. While you're in the office, you behave in a certain manner. You carry yourself in a certain manner. When you go home, you are totally a different person. You play a different role. Right? You can be a husband, a wife, mother, father, whatever, it doesn't matter. So you switch and you have to change. And that's okay. Something which I want to stress. This is difficult to do, but you should try to do it. Never ever take things personally when you are in the office. Because if you take things personally, you go off tangent. Seriously, you'll find yourself in a very difficult position to even function properly. Because whenever somebody says something negative about you, you tend to take it overly seriously, I would say. So that's very dangerous. You can't function effectively anymore. Yes, sometimes, yeah, it's easier said than done. You have to go through that experience, then you know how it is. But try not to take things personally. If you do that, then there goes professionalism and whatever. Those will just become theories. Right? So, be tough. Okay, and be strong. Inshallah, if I can survive, I don't see why you cannot survive. Especially in today's, technology. Everything is at the fingertips. In terms of exposure and knowledge, all of you, to be honest, you are like 20 times ahead compared to me during my time. Because of technology. In our days, I didn't even know what public relations, was all about. I just signed up for that course. I wanted to go into broadcasting, but my voice apparently is not suitable enough for broadcasting in those days because they want a very husky, deep voice, which I did not have and still don't have until now. So I look at those, my friends, right, queuing up because you need to go through this interview session before they accept you to go into that majoring. The queue was so long because at that time TV3 was so very, very popular. Everybody wanted to be broadcasters. So I decided to go to PR because nobody was lining up. The very first class, Dr. Kirajiko, I think you all know, is my lecturer. Then she said, 90% of PR work is writing. I was looking at the door, but I couldn't just run out anymore. I got very side up. That's just to tell a little bit of story, like that's it. Right? But I'm just sharing. Okay? You guys will have to be strong, learn as much as possible. And you have got the advantage. If you talk about social media just now, seriously, today everything is social media. Today everything is about content. And you have got the advantage because you play with content every day. Right? Compared to us in the old days. We develop content traditionally. Whereas you guys, at the tip of your fingers, at your fingertips, you are already creating content. You are so good at it. The only thing now to do is, how do you suit that to the organization? Because at the personal level and the communication at company level will be two different things. Yes, you can put a little bit of humor or whatever into it, but at the end of the day, you're still talking about the image, how people are going to look at that particular company. You can scream, you can shout in your personal TikTok, but you cannot scream and shout in your company TikTok because people see you're crazy. That is not what the company is all about. You need to be able to differentiate that. Yeah, and I'm sure all of you have got that advantage. Okay, sorry, you have.
That's very needed answers. Yes, of course. Sure.
When Mr. Latiff mentioned about his internship experience, I suddenly remember this one incident happened when I experienced it, when I went through my internship last time. I think my internship experience is quite recent compared to Mr. Latiff. Sorry, sir. Okay, I really need you to listen to this story very carefully because it's still related to the introvert story. Okay, the introvert question just now. When I was in my third year, okay, we are our communication students. We are required to undergo our internship, and we need to produce report. Okay, I'm not sure about the current structure, but that was mine last time. So I was lucky enough, alhamdulillah, to be attached at this one well-known private company in Malaysia. Alhamdulillah. Okay, and double the lucky, I was attached exactly in PR department. They call it as Corporate Communication Department, CCD. Okay, and I got to learn many interesting things related to PR there. Okay, that is when I started to appreciate my decision to join PR industry. Okay, my manager back then, she was very nice to me. She took me all over KL for her meetings. Okay, club, golf. The team about to send me to club even to close deal with client. And then I still remember this one evening, my manager called me, Amy, come to my room. Okay, and then the two managers look at me, Amy, and then they look, are you sure? And then another manager, yeah, I'm not sure. Amy, which university you are from? IIUM lah. Then I was wondering what is actually going on, and then betul I overheard the conversation. I think we better choose intern from other university lah. IUM not suit for this job. Okay, so I was lucky that I said. Then I asked them lah, ma'am, what the job is about actually? Oh, we wanted to send you to club. We want you to deal close project with one client because you talk good Chinese, right? You talk so good, but then again, your university save you because you IIUM, right? Islamic, kind of Islamic university, right? Better no lah. They said, okay, but it's okay lah. The rest for IIUM. But the thing that I want to share actually, a friend of mine from IIUM as well, her internship program was terminated by our manager. Okay, my manager, our manager back then called Sir Aznan. Sir Aznan was our supervisor, internship supervisor back then. Our supervisor called Sir Aznan, telling him that IUM sent 2 interns to that particular company, to that particular department. Me and another one student, sister as well. So everything started when the team is required us about to send us the intern go to Bago because they had event with the ministry. All companies, all media companies, Petronas, Shell, TV3, Astro, they all went there, open booth because the minister from communication and all are about to launch something. It was a big event, so the company sent us, the PR people together with the intern. I'm good. I like it. I love field work. I really love it. But then again, this friend of mine directly, told our manager directly, Puan, I'm sorry, but I don't think that I can go to Pago for the event. I am shy. I'm too shy to meet people, and I don't used to talk to strangers. It is something foreign for me to talk to strangers, so I don't think I can go to Pago. You can just leave me here lah. I can look after the office. She said that directly to the face of our manager, in front of us, the manager, the executive, the secretaries, and me, the intern. So I was like, another thing is that this particular girl, she failed to look for the non-verbal cues. But I cakap, when you the non-verbal topic, then it very carefully. Our manager that time, her face turned red. Because intern eventually declined the instruction. Are you serious for real? You intern kot. And the reasons that she provided adalah, they are all personal reasons. I'm not used to speak in front of the public. I'm too shy to to mix with strangers, and then I cannot expose to sunlight. I'm allergic. My face is allergic. Yeah, these are all true story. I didn't make up. I'm allergic. Too bad our manager back then, she was at the team. Double the bed. You can talk about your skincare to that team. Hello? Like, seriously? Datin diam je, Datin dengar je everything that she mumbles. I cannot, my skin is so sensitive, I cannot go to work even, it's very difficult, I cannot complete my internship report. All personal reason. She mentioned to the manager straight to her face in the round table meeting. I cannot imagine what's going to be next, but I can sense something bad about to happen. Yes, I didn't pray for that, but it happened for real. Our manager, short after the meeting, our manager called her. I personally have no idea what the discussion was about, but I can hear the voices. Our manager's punya voice suara tu. She shout out loud to her. So yeah, this question is very much important. As I said earlier, as we discussed earlier, whatever your personality is, do not carry it at your professional work setting. So long story cut, my friend's internship progress was terminated by our manager. I'm not sure how Sir Azlan, you did all the communication. With courtesy, our manager decided to accept her back after the conversation and communication with Sir Azlan. Then only she's being accepted to the team. And what make it worse, her staff card, her temporary staff card, her temporary access card to the building, to the tower, was taken immediately after the meeting. She's no longer part of the department. That's what our manager told us. Too bad, but to HPR, this page is very good. Regardless of what personality that you are having in you, you know, according to the discussion, based on the discussion we had earlier, you have to be professional enough, you know when to carry your introvert face and when to carry or to perform your duty. It is very much important. Being introvert is okay, but what not okay is when you fail to position yourself as expected to a situation. Okay? So I really hope you can learn a lesson from my friend's story. Thank you.
So thank you so much, both speakers, are very needed answers for us students because we are dealing with this. I'm very sure most of my communication friends are introvert for the records, irony, isn't it? Okay, so what I get here is like the most important thing is be professional in everything that you do and grab every opportunity. Like every single one. I can personally relate to both of the stories personally, and I can say just grab it. It will be hard, it will be very, very hard indeed, but just grab. You never know what comes along the way, and you must always know as an IUM students, we are taught this in class, we always have our God with us. So just grab every opportunity. Okay, so now we talk about the importance of the skills, important crucial skills, the limitations, and now let's just look into another area. Okay, so what is the practice or prospect of communication in the near future for communication and also the challenges that comes with it? So perhaps Mr. Latiff can answer first.
Opportunities in communication. This has become a big issue, seriously, lately, due to technology. Everybody is aware of ChatGPT?
Yes.
So you are happy, you are ecstatic, you are worried, or what? Suddenly there's no future because of ChatGPT. How many of you are actually using ChatGPT? I won't tell your lecturer. Anybody using ChatGPT for your assignments? Wow, you guys are so good. Seriously? I am using ChatGPT for my work. So, is it ethical? Okay, guys. Let's put it this way. Whenever I give talks, most of the time these questions will come up. What is the future like? Because of technology today. I would say, there will be two sides to the stories. It depends on who you are talking to. I've come across individuals who says that it's going to be very challenging for communication people because apparently, because of ChatGPT is just one, okay? It's just one small part of it. It's not actually the whole thing yet. It's still growing. There are many, many more AI-driven, platforms, software systems, or whatever is being developed currently, and almost every day there will be new things being introduced into the market. I've come across individuals who says this is going to impact communication studies or graduates or even the profession. But some are also saying, look, at the end of the day, communication, you go back to basics, you go back to theories, it's half science, it's half art. It's a combination of both, right? If you look from the scientific perspective, yes, perhaps all this technology will play a role, right? So from the scientific perspective. But if you look at it from human perspective, the arts, this is something which I believe no technology can actually take that away from you. The tonation of content that you put across, how hard, how soft is the visual that you're using. I don't think technology can do that part for you. It still needs human intervention because our personal self, right? What we have gone through, perhaps, our experiences, our feelings, everything will come into play. So if you are creating content for your company, this is where it will differentiate between a technically produced product compared to something which is more perhaps relatable to your target audience that you're trying to talk to. Okay, so from that perspective, I don't think technology will take over everything. Technology will definitely help. Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, and I realize this is something I would say positive. After a while, yeah, a lot of CEOs are beginning to acknowledge communication is a lot more. There's a lot more to it than what you see on the surface. And if you are working with, if let's say you have got your CEO, and if they come from different backgrounds and even age, you'll see a lot of differences there. I have got the privilege of working with CEOs who's a lot younger than me, a lot younger. And I have also worked with CEOs who are like my father or grandfather. You know, I've worked for both. Then I can see the differences between these individuals. The younger CEOs will tend to favor more use of technology. They're very quick. Yeah, social media. Everything is social media. So that's where I will come in and say, okay, fine, we can use social media, but how are we going to portray ourselves on social media? How do you want it to be done? As a communication practitioner, you put that perspective to the other side, yeah, because to them, social media is the thing of the future. You have to use it, you have got no choice. Okay, we agree, we have to use social media, but how are you going to use it? Then you go back into your experience as a communication practitioner. The content that you put in, if, right, during my time, Chinese New Year celebration, the use of colors, simple. In the old days, it is a big taboo for Chinese to use black during Chinese New Year. So if you are coming up with corporate messages, your visuals or whatever not, this is where technology will never be able to tell you. You cannot use you cannot use black in anything that you are producing for Chinese New Year because it's a big no-no to the Chinese. Black means death. You know, they always equate black to death. So takkan Chinese New Year you want to use something which is black. So this is where your input will come in. Okay? You talk about social media platform. You have let's say TikTok, right? You have LinkedIn, you have FB, you have Twitter. I belong to the dinosaur age, so seriously, I'm really not good at this. Okay, right? So you have got all these platforms. So now, when you are coming up with content, because today the king is content, right? So which is suitable for TikTok and which is suitable for LinkedIn, and how much do you put into TikTok and how much do you put into LinkedIn? What kind of information that is more suitable to LinkedIn because LinkedIn is more formal, slightly high-end perhaps in terms of content, right? Whereas TikTok is more fun. But if you are in retail business, TikTok can be very, very much applicable because you are doing something which is fun, but you are selling. At the end of the day, you still sell. That is the bottom line. Okay, you pump money into that platform is because you want to turn it into business. So this is somewhere which you as communication practitioner, you will have to put in the input. You have to show that to the other side. Social media is not be-all kind of platform. Especially in Malaysia today, yes, you still have a substantial group of the older generation, people like me, my age. I'm already past my 50s. I'm quite old. I don't use social media the way you guys are using. Okay? There's still a substantial number of people in my age category. And if you talk about economic power, who can spend more? Perhaps people in my kind of category, because we are already towards the end of our career, in terms of our economic standing, perhaps slightly better compared to the younger ones that is just coming out. But majority are all of you. But those with economic power is who? If you are in retail, for example, I don't know whether you realize about this. The crowd that goes to KLCC, yeah, And the crowd that goes to, what is that shopping complex near the Federal Highway? Oh my God, I'm old. Mid-Valley, correct, sorry. I'm old, seriously, I can't recall Mid-Valley. Okay, the crowd that goes to KLCC and the crowd that goes to Mid-Valley. In terms of spending, who is actually spending more? That's where you're wrong. It's actually people going to Mid-Valley spending more. People going to KLCC, they don't spend that much. It's window shopping. But you're talking about buying retail products. Those crowds that's in Mid-Valley, apparently they buy more compared to those that go to KLCC. So this is what it means. I'm just trying to relate a little bit of science, a little bit of art. And we talk about communication, whether it's going to be there in the future or not. Yeah, I would say it is definitely important. Communication will still grow, but you must learn how to use technology to your advantage. You cannot put that aside. Benefit from it. ChatGPT. Well, I told you, right? I use ChatGPT. But I don't use ChatGPT blindly. I don't just take whatever ChatGPT gives me and I take it as it is, this is best, let's go with it. I don't. So perhaps the experience that I've gained over 30 years, whatever that I've done in the past, my interaction with people, my interaction with stakeholders and all that, I use all this to determine whether the content given by ChatGPT is relevant, should be used or should not be used. And sometimes, if I want to double check whether the work that I've done is good enough before it's published, I will create the content first. I go into ChatGPT, ask AI to check whether this is okay or not. And they will come up with the reading. This is okay, this is not okay, or whatever. Then you make your call, whether you want to use it or not. So it is definitely a technology that will help you, but don't rely 100% on it, because AI technology at this point, they are still quite new, because the data that has been input into the system, especially ChatGPT, is only for the past, 10 years, if I'm not mistaken? They have got because all the data that are collected from a certain number of years, only those are being put into the system. So the system is just working based on this data that they have. The data is not current. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, the data is not current. When the data is not current, it cannot be 100% accurate. Because it's all system-driven, technology-driven, unless it can reflect real-life data, then perhaps the findings is going to be different. If you have used ChatGPT, for example, right, they look at the quality of the prompts that you put in. The words that you use, you put into the system, and then it will give you the results. In split seconds, it can give you the results. But if your prompt is wrong, the result is wrong. And me and my colleague, we were playing with it, we were having fun. Sometimes we make it so complicated, the system will come out and say, I'm unable to process what you are requesting. Because, yeah, they cannot do anything more than that. Everything is data-driven, and the data is being input into the system is very limited. But technology will continue to improve. So once it gets better, then it gives you real-life data, real-life findings perhaps. Then it can, the solutions perhaps might be a little bit better. Okay, so I stop here first. She will have, I think she has got a lot to add. Okay, so don't worry too much. Yeah, as far as communication profession is concerned, I think it's going to be there in the future. You must use it smartly, use technology smartly. Yes.
I like ChatGPT. Thank you, Sir Latiff, for sharing tips on how to use ChatGPT in our daily life and in our career. But then again, allow me to share my how I work with ChatGPT in dealing with my students. Okay, now I tell you the secret of lecturer. Sorry, Doctor. Okay, the good things of ChatGPT is that, as what Mr. Latiff mentioned just now, the moment you type in your assignment title, there goes the heaven. Okay, everything is being listed there. You just need to ini, mini, mini, more, pick one. Ini, mini, mini, more, pick two. Correct or not? Dr. Zaiti tak dengar. Cakap je. Correct or not?
They don't want that.
Oh, they don't want to me. It's live after all. Okay. So yeah, that is the heaven for student. Now let us the lecturer enjoy your heaven. Okay. So when my students submit their assignment, okay, it is compulsory for them. Okay, jom, Dr. Zati, we learn together. It is compulsory for my student to write the sources. And I tell you, ChatGPT doesn't provide the list of the sources. They just mention the point. And students are unable to find how legitimate or how valid, how legit the points are. So that's how we lecturer caught our students. So if you want to use ChatGPT later, use it in a smarter way. How? For every single point mentioned by ChatGPT, you cross-check with Uncle Google. Do not ignore the importance of Google Scholar. Okay? You should always check for any existing papers. You take the paper and take the content. Meaning to say, for you to effectively use ChatGPT, it can serve as a technology that sparks the ideas. But for you to elaborate further, for you to justify further, for you to prepare the argument and all, you should refer to a legit source. The best could always be journal article paper. Okay, so that's how to actively use ChatGPT in a safer way. I once experienced, I witnessed my very own assignment, my friend's assignment being thrown away. Just like that. With one of our lecturer. But it wasn't his fault at all. Because the assignment itself was duplicated. Silap lah. Do not underestimate your lecturer. Even with ChatGPT. Okay? That's number one from education perspective and my experience as an educator dealing with students who use ChatGPT in our assignment. Secondly, the sophisticated development like AI and all that. The thing that I could say, the example that I will use is Canva. I believe you are all using Canva for your presentation, for your note taking, mind mapping and all, okay? But then again, the Canva development, the ChatGPT development, the creation of those AI technology, they are good to assist us in our daily life. But it shouldn't replace us and replace our skill. Okay? What does it mean? Okay. So for example, like Canva, you can create video, you can create beautiful slides and all. But my friend who worked with HR department at one well-known company, he told me that when they interview their potential staff, they will ask the staff to do design without Canva. Yes. Yeah, the technologies are there, but they are looking for real people with real talent. Fikirkan what real talent is. We continue after this. Okay, let me continue. Companies are looking for people with real talent. So regardless of whatever sophisticated, apps, software being developed, and the thing that you have mastered, you should always remember when you are about to attend for an interview session, you should know how to do things manually. Yeah. Because I once talked to my friend who currently employed by Petronas HR division, okay, and they told us, okay, not Petronas lah, other company lah, okay, okay, other company, right? I changed my content, okay, I changed my friend, I changed my content, I changed my point, okay. Okay, so I would like to share thoughts, okay, mentioned by my fellow friends who currently work in HR industry. They told us that they even provide their own company laptop, and they ask the potential workers to conduct certain project, to come up with a video, to come up with a design with no software, with no sophisticated software. Yeah. So yeah, whatever talent, whatever skill that you have with those Canva, with those whatever videos, whatever apps, whatever software, be ready to be a real human when you attend for an interview session, especially with those giant and gigantic companies. They all have their own methods of assessing their potential team members. Okay? Alright.
Okay. I think it's time for me to ask questions now. Do you know where you're going to get jobs from? Your strategy is to get a job after this. All of you are in your final year? Majority of you? A few of you perhaps, right? Do you have any idea how you're going to get the jobs that you are looking for?
Yeah.
Oh, how come? 4 years of studying, right? So you don't have any idea how, where to go to, where to look
I do.
for opportunities?
I do.
Okay, you have to share?
Yay.
Come, go ahead. No, there's a mic there, right? Now let's just have a free discussion, right? Please don't be shy. We are here to learn from each other. Okay, go ahead. Your plans, your strategies, how are you going to get jobs?
Hi, my name is Nurul Emilia. So, what I do first is to update my LinkedIn profile. I know for some people they said that students to have LinkedIn profile is sometimes it's nonsense because the content you want to share is basically related to your education. But for me, as I try to attend as much experience as I can as a student while working. So I try to connect with the people that potentially that I will be working for through LinkedIn. And then I use job portal. I find the numbers of HR or the person who in charge for recruiting worker. I'll contact them through email, through phone, and then I also connect them on social media. I go through. I know this is. I hope this is not sound creepy, but I always go through the persons who's gonna interview me because I want to get to know to that person before I get to talk to him or her. Yeah, I think. Oh, another way for me to attend an interview is I will go through the company's background and what is their event. Even if it's just for a part-time job, I will always look for their entity and their background. Yeah, I think that's all.
Alright, very impressive. Now that is being very, very proactive. Yeah, I suppose that's the way things are done now, right? Not like us during our old days. Okay, thank you so much for the sharing. I think everyone here would have learned a lot from what you have done. Now, what I'm trying to say here is this. When you finish studying, right? Where do you see yourself? 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road. Okay? Now, there are so many options out there. Seriously, there are so many options. It's all up to you to decide. I'm going to throw this, I suppose this is a challenge. How many of you ever thought of working overseas? Seriously. Oh, okay, we have got a few here. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is this. In today's environment, right, Malaysia alone might not be sufficient. You should challenge yourself. Yeah, you should challenge yourself and try to go as far and as wide possible. Yeah, you should not just be focusing whatever that you can find here. Definitely there's a lot of opportunities even in Malaysia. As the economy progresses, as we grow, definitely there will be a lot of opportunities. Yeah? But how many of you are willing to challenge yourself and go overseas? When I was at your age, you never thought about all this. It will always be, okay, after you finish, you get a job somewhere here, and then you start your life, and that's it. Nobody actually challenges, why can't you just open up? If you want to go global, you go Asian, ASEAN, Asian, right? And then you go global. So there are so many opportunities out there, but how many of you are actually exploring? Sometimes culture will also come into play. Parents, to be honest, I'm not trying to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming parents. I'm a parent myself. Okay, I'm trying to encourage my children openly, challenge and go overseas if you want to. But they don't seem to be responding. I think they want to work locally. That's quite sad. But never mind. I mean, these are all opportunities. What I'm trying to say is this. You need to look at yourself. You ask that question, what do you want to do? And you go after it. You're still young. This is the best time to decide. It's going to be very challenging. Yeah? But if you can get jobs overseas with your credentials because you are students of IIUM, is internationally recognized, that is something which, you have an advantage compared to perhaps other local universities because the name itself. Why don't you benefit from it? And if you are looking at local, what kind of companies do you want to join? FMCGs? You know what is FMCGs? Yes? Okay. MNCs? GLCs? You want to work with GLCs? You sure? I came from there. just to scare a little bit. Okay. And when it comes to communication, at the end of the day, these are all options. Okay? So you have to decide. Because some of us, then you go back to your personality. Introvert, extrovert, whatever word you want to use, all those words. Alright? Sometimes certain kind of working environment might be suitable for you compared to your friend. So these are all options that you have to consider. You look at yourself, you ask yourself what do you want, and then you decide. GLCs, basically they are government owned. They are being run like a private entity, but they are government owned. GLCs. MNCs, you are talking about multinationals. Companies from overseas coming into here investing. The drawback with MNCs is this. They can just decide to close their operations and they go off. That's reality. But it gives you good opportunity for you to grow your career. You can even get ready to be sent overseas to their headquarters or whatever to work, if you are good. So this is actually an opportunity. You can also go into government sector, to be honest. And I can tell you this, if you talk about PR practice, I think government sector is one of the best in terms of real PR practice. They are really practicing public relations. You might be surprised to hear this, because you always see government as being outdated or backdated, but they really do practice public relations. Because you look at Malaysia and the context, how we do things. Malaysia, one thing about Malaysia, politics and business intertwined. Unlike US and Europe, business and politics separated. But in our country, because the way we have been, the way it's growing, the future, whatever is happening here, business and politics are still together. Alright? So the government sector, they really do practice public relations. Okay? That is my personal take. People might disagree with me, but never mind. I've been there, I've seen it. I've worked with them, so I know how it's like. They really practice public relations in every sense of the word. Sometimes Even the private sector will not practice the way the government is practicing. This is serious. Private sector will be very selective. I just want to do this, I must stop here. Because I don't want to expose myself to other things. The government, they cannot afford to do that. Because government is being seen, wholesome, overall, right? So they do anything and everything as far as practice is concerned. If that is your appetite, and if your personality suit into that kind of environment, that is one option. Okay, so the government sector, MNCs, GLCs, overseas. And you have to work locally, for example. You know the forces? If you're there enough, if you are strong enough, you believe in your ability, you can go into these forces. The 4 biggest accounting firm in the world. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's why I asked whether you read economic reports. Everything is interrelated. If you read economic reports, you know what I'm talking about, these forces. The 4 biggest accounting firms in the world. Ernst & Young's, right? Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the other one? KPMG. This is huge consultancies. And they specialize in anything and everything, to be honest. A company who is in trouble can go to them and they can revive the whole organization with their consultants. And one of the subset of the consultants is actually COM. And they do look for COM people. But I can tell you this, it's not easy to survive inside that. You have to be very, very strong. You must be willing to spend a lot of time. Work is never ending. The turnaround time for deadlines is crazy. Because client can just come in, I need to turn over this company in 4 months. Everything goes. They will put together the whole one team, they will be led by somebody, and they will work like crazy. But the exposure you get, the experience that you get, if you knock on a GLC, you say, okay, I'm looking for this public relations director post, and I've spent 10 years of my time with EY, Ernst & Young. They will never question you anymore because of your exposure, and it's very valuable. This is another option. And we are talking about job opportunities. You must challenge yourself. Look at yourself, your ability, and you decide where to go and what to do. Any of you are planning to be your own boss? Entrepreneur. You have to be an entrepreneur. That is also an option. But what kind of business are you going into? If you are going into a business which is not related to com, can you use the knowledge, skills that you have obtained here for the advantage of your company? Nothing is lost when you study. When we go for education, nothing is lost. One fine day it will come back and you will use it. Never ever think that what you study is not relevant in the real world. To be honest, it's fully relevant. It's just that you will be using bits and pieces here and there. And you need to continue to build up. Seriously, you have to continue building and learning new things. I am 54 years old. I am still learning. Still incomplete. Work in progress. I'm still trying to learn the use of social media. We saw you have got you have got the advantage because you're using it. I did not use it in the past. I'm beginning to learn how to use it now. But when I was working full time, we used a lot of social media. I started from zero. And to be honest, I hate social media. I hate it to the maximum. Because your life is like an open book, which I feel is crazy. I want to tell people what I do in my life. Those are close to me, they would know, but hey, the general public out there, do you need to know who I am? But I'm using social media today because of my work. Especially now I started my own small consultancy firm. If people don't know me, they will not come to me. And the best way to get them to know me, get a help as an influencer. This is part and parcel of strategies, and companies are doing this. Companies are looking for people who can provide them this expertise. And all of you, that can also become your profession. You can become content creator. But if you want to become content creator, you make sure that you be a good one. Because if not, you will be one of so many out there in the market. Nothing to differentiate from Mr. A, Mr. B. So that's what I'm trying to say. Opportunities are plentiful out there. It's what you want to do. Your interest. You have to work on it. Okay, I've talked too much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Latiff. My final words, okay? The truth facts about life is that even though you are taking PR as your course to be part of your degree program, the fact is not every one of you will be joining PR industry. That's for sure. Truth, we're talking about facts, okay? The best example is I myself. I ended up as a lecturer, as part of academicians, currently doing my PhD. Okay, but the thing is, when you learn PR, it's not about the job alone, it's not about the position alone, it's not about the title, but the skills that you learn to be, allow your PR degree. As I can remember, if I can recall, presentation skills is obviously yes, presentation. Okay, so whenever you have presentation assignments, presentation project, do it at your best. Try to get feedback from your fellow lecturers because you're gonna need them when you are presenting for your project, to close deal, to close tender, or to even get a sponsorship for your event. Presentation is one thing. Other than that is negotiation skills. Other than that is communication. Yeah, communication is general, but specific one I would share is non-verbal, the skills of reading non-verbal cues. I bet you guys learn non-verbal communication, right? So pay attention to the class, do the assignment at your best, get feedback from lecturers, and try to master reading non-verbal cues as much as you can. Okay? Because I can share is me being a lecturer, I still remember, I am very sure that I still carry the PR skills in me. I love to organize events, and for my CSR project last year, I managed to collaborate with one giant company in Malaysia, combine them with the government states of Pahang, combine them with Kementerian Pendidikan, combine them with few other schools. That is the skills, those are the skills, the communication, the negotiation, the management, the planning skills that I learned throughout my PR degree. So yeah, be a person with real talent. Do not carry the name of PR graduates, but you carry the qualities of PR graduates as well. Thank you.
Sorry, I just want to add one more. The word that we use today here, career success in today's globalized world. Now, the word globalized, how are you related to that? What are you doing to be part of that globalized world?
Watching Netflix.
Forever you'll be watching Netflix. Where would that take you? Okay, that's what I said. You guys are very fortunate. Okay, the world is an oyster, to be honest. The saying, the world is an oyster. It's actually there for you to grab. If you want to be connected globally, in the simplest form, in the fastest way, it's actually for you to be part of a globalized organization. Automatically, you get the opportunity to be exposed and to be able to develop your network globally, even at this level as students. How many of you are actually using this? You are not using it. This is actually an opportunity. IPRM, you are, I suppose, members of IPRM, right? But what happens after this? Okay, don't get me wrong, I'm not selling anything. I used to be the president of IABC Malaysia. Okay, I'm now just a member because I finished my term. Now, IABC, for example, if you become a member, automatically you're connected to professional communication practitioners worldwide. When I say you automatically, meaning you become a member, you go into their portal, you just say you like ChatGPT. I'm Mr. So-and-so, I'm doing, let's say, a research on this and this. Does anyone have anything to contribute or whatever? You just wait for a few minutes because everybody is alive worldwide, right? We will be sleeping, someone else will be working. There will be somebody who will be responding to you. That's how you develop your networking. Automatically, you get exposed to all these international happenings when it comes to communication. And you'll be amazed how fast you can develop your global networking. This just as an example. Don't have to go to IABC if you don't want to. Not an issue. But what I'm saying is, you want to be a player in this globalized world. You have to put yourself there. You have to do it. You cannot wait for it to happen. You know, you make the decision, you decide, you go. So this is definitely the fastest way for you to be known globally. Right? Okay, so that's all for now.
Communicators, we are always communicators. Keep passing my, huh? Okay, another way for you to be globalized in a fast manner, in a faster way, through social media.
Yes.
Social media, the influencers that you follow, the influencers that you decide to follow, janganlah follow tu from the Timbang Kati. You're going nowhere, Jujur Kelantan je. Okay? Okay? But you have to follow someone who are prominent in their industry. You follow that people, you keep yourself updated with their story, with their posts, and you provide intellectual comment and feedback. That's how for you to get globalized effectively, faster. Social media. But of course, when you follow them, you'll be double the lucky if they follow you back. But too bad if your own content is lousy. That's why I said, every time you want to post in your social media, you should always cross-check the quality of your content. Like Mr. Latif mentioned just now, if your content are similar like many other content creators, then what's the difference about you? What's so special about you? So look after your own content quality, then you start to follow prominent people in their industry, active in their social media platform, responding to their posts by providing intellectual comment, intellectual feedback, be active, be seen. And that's another faster way and effective way for you to get globalized. Inshallah. Thank you.
Wow. We learned so much. I'm very sure that everyone here are like, oh, I didn't expect it to be like these two speakers. Very insightful from the industries and also from the tips from lecturers and how we covered so much. We covered skills, we covered on how to embrace the technologies. We cannot run for it, so we embrace it. And we also covered about being introvert, how to deal with your personalities in your workplace. We covered a whole lot thanks to our beloved speakers here. So now I will open the floor to any questions. Please, they are here from far. Madam from Gambang here, drive all the way here. So any questions, do please ask. This is an opportunity you have to grab. Any questions?
Jangan malu-malu.
Cepat.
Jangan PM
Oh, social media ni susah ni, ada kat depan. Come, questions?
No questions. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Adam Hafiz bin Muhammad Khairul. I am from Department of Political Science. I have one question. As a political science student, how can I benefit from communication?
As a political science student, I'm sure you are good in your writing, right? So you can become a practitioner. It's already prerequisite. In fact, to be honest, at one time there were a lot of companies, right? They were looking for people from different backgrounds, okay, because they need writers. And if you are planning to work in the media, for example, a political science graduate is very much welcome because of your ability to analyze and things, materials that you put on paper. So that is definitely an avenue. Okay, so today I know quite a number of com heads. Some of them still prefer to employ communication graduate, especially at entry level, but some are willing to give it a try as far as the other profession is concerned, because they want to have diversity in the department, depending on that company as well, the background of the company, what they're doing and all that. So if you decide to go into com, there's no issue. Yeah, as long as during the interview you can sell yourself, right? You stand a chance. I hope I answer your question. Any other question?
Please, do ask.
Yeah. It's your opportunity.
My question to Sir Latiff. I'm Hafiz from Arabic English literature. My question is a bit philosophy. So, from your point of view, what is your consideration about effective communication? Because I believe that in many things is we need to be effective in our communication. That's all.
From what I said just now, how many of you are beginning to think about getting a job overseas? How many of you? Don't be scared. There's nothing right or wrong here. So perhaps my communication has been effective. Because at the end of the day, you talk about effectiveness in communication. It's actually the impact that you're creating. That's all. As an organization, when you communicate something, what is the intended outcome? You want people to change their behavior? Or you want people to change the way they understand things? Or do you want people to get up and take action after you have communicated? So these are the fundamentals in communication, right? So it's actually what you want to get out of it. So if you're asking me now, how do I define effective communication? If my intention here today, when I accepted the invitation, I came with this thinking, I want to try and help all of you to see what would be the possibilities as far as communication profession is concerned. Whatever that I have just said to you guys, or whatever that I have shared, did you take it in? Are you beginning to think about whatever I'm saying? If you are doing that, that means to a certain extent, my communication is effective. But the next step is you. It's no longer me. I can only do this much. But if whatever I'm saying is strong enough, perhaps I have stirred something inside you for you to start thinking. And if I manage to do that, perhaps communication is effective. I don't know whether this is a philosophical answer. I hope I make sense, right, guys? Okay, all right. Any other questions? You want to add to that? Oh, no. I'm not doing it.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Fadil from Usuluddin Department. So I want to ask to Medium lah. Boleh Medium? Okay. Is it to improve the communication? We need to join a program or can develop from the class only? Because my friend have a very different answer. So I want to ask Medium.
Your friends have different answers.
Yeah.
And what was the question just now? What is the question again?
Is it to improve the communication?
To improve communication?
Is just we enter the class or join a program or workshop?
Oh, okay, okay.
For every way.
Communication you mean? Daily conversation ke?
Daily conversation.
Communication is general, everything. Okay, thank you very much. If you ask me how to improve communication, as I mentioned earlier, communication is such a general term. Okay, whether you want to be a better speaker, you want to be a better presenter, you want to be a better content creator, they are all communication. Okay, but back to the basic, I assume what he meant is actually communication skills. Whether in class or through program, I would say the combination of both. In class, when you interact in class, when you interact with your lecturer, when you do your presentation, you will get immediate feedback from experts. You know how much the consultant pay the experts per hour. You can simply get feedbacks from them for free in class. Okay, so every time you have in-class presentation, I will suggest you do volunteer yourself to present, to be the presenter, and try to get feedback as much as possible. Jangan cakap, aku dah present, kau pula, rugi. Especially when you are at main campus, you have doctors, you have associate professors, you have professors with you. They are the people of wisdom and experience. You can always ask for their feedback. That is number one. Okay, communication. Through program, you have the opportunity to improve your non-verbal cues as well as your consideration to others. That's also communication, because communication is about I tell you, you understand, and you tell me, I understand. It's about mutual communication, mutual understanding. And talking about mutual understanding, joint programs can help you to understand and to be a better communicator, because you are communicating at different situations, including the one that are not expected, macam conflict. You still need to handle conflict well, right? And you can always experience that when you organize event like Bakti-Siswa, for example. So to answer his question, what are the ways, what are the things that we can do to improve communication? When you are in class, benefit the knowledge and skill of your fellow lecturers. They are the experts. And then when you are outside of the class hour, you join program as much as possible, because that is when you get to know people and you are able to interact with people. Another additional criteria when you are international students, you don't have to wait for you to work in the industry, for you to mix with people from international countries. You can even communicate with them here in Malaysia, in IIUM, simply by being here, simply by being IIUM student. Do you agree if I say the way us Malaysian and the way international students communicate are different? The way we think and the way they think is different. The way we do job, the way they do their job is different. So benefit the environment of IIUM. Globalize yourself, globalize your communication skills.
Any more questions? Okay, I have
Hello, Assalamualaikum. So my name is Dini. I'm always thinking about this question. I mean, like, I am an IIUM communication student. But then, all of us know that everyone can be an ER practitioners. But then, what makes us different? What makes us as a communication student different from others? What can we sell? Yeah.
That is a very tough question. Maybe I would like to rephrase that. If you ask me personally, not everyone can become a PR practitioner. It requires certain, skill sets are very technical. There are skills, you need all those fundamentals. But at the end of the day, you have to be, your IQ and your EQ. In fact, to be honest, I was actually preparing some materials for this. I thought I would be talking alone, so I prepared something. So, don't worry. No, it's okay. Because I didn't know that it's supposed to be like this in the beginning. I thought one person kind of presentation. So I was just preparing something. One of the things that I actually put in the list required is actually IQ and EQ. Okay, now you have to be strong. Okay, your personality, you have to be very strong. For a very simple reason, like I mentioned earlier, you are facing a lot of different kind of situations and environment every day as a practitioner. People look at you as a problem solver. In fact, that is not a good term to use, problem solver, right? So it's supposed to be mutual and creating mutual benefits and all that stuff. But reality is this: they look at you as the person to go to solve their problems. And then when you open your mouth, this is where we differentiate between practitioner A and practitioner B. the wisdom that you put across, the reasoning that you put across, why we should do it like this instead of like that. Because people will challenge you all the time, especially com. Okay, the likes of the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, the Chief Legal Officer, for example, even HR for that matter. When it comes to com, everybody claim they are an expert. They know everything. So when you start talking, they start to challenge you. So you must have that ability to think clearly, to talk clearly, to reason out. In order for you to reason out, and in order for you to make sense, then you have to know a lot. You have to read a lot. That's why I said learning is a never-ending process. This is very important. Can you imagine? You are given the task to write a news release on your company, let's say, financial performance. And you have the light of the CFO, his work or her work is just to look at numbers and, they would know million and one things about the financial standing of the company, but you are writing the story. When you are writing the story, but you are not as the CFO, you are writing the story from the general perspective because you want people to understand, bottom line, the company is doing very well, this is a company to look at, if you want to work, this is a company to come to. Those are the things that you put in the communication material. You are not looking into the technical part of the accounts. He or she will be influencing you to put all those in because that's important to them. But that's not important to you. You study communication. You want the public to look at your company from a positive perspective, right? You need to write from their point of view. This is where you have to be able to stand in front. Look, I take this information, I'm going to put it like this because I think this is how people can understand it. But in order for you to come to that level, they need to give you the respect. Because if not, they'll never entertain you. Because they just look at you as com is just something extra and nice to have. That is always the perception, right? So you must have that ability. Carry yourself well. Make sure you're knowledgeable. Read as much as possible. If you do not know, you tell them, I don't know, but I will find out. Never ever feel that you are not smart enough when you are in the room together with everyone. Once they give you the respect, things will be much easier for you. Because whatever you say, people will listen. But to get that is not easy. I've worked for 30 years to get that. And I went through lots of high and lows as far as my career is concerned. Really high and lows. But you learn. You don't give up. You must always show that you are at par with the head of legal, for example, head of finance, head of operations, head of audit. You have to defend a lot. So if they look at you as being a very strong person, wholesome person, then they give you the attention. Otherwise, you are just going to be put aside. And you must always, I would say, daring, I suppose, to a certain extent. You cannot be shy, seriously. In com, you cannot afford to be shy. Your introvertness must be kept somewhere in the closet that people don't see. But you know you are like that, fine. But when you step forward, always remember, you are representing the organization. I have had the responsibility to present about the company to a group of foreigners. At one time, it was being done by senior management members. But it came to a point, we were so busy, but people were coming in from overseas. We had to present about the bank. I was with the bank at that time. At the end, my boss looked at me, Latif, I think it's time for you to present the company to these people. Only one opportunity. I grabbed it. Then after that, it became a routine. Every time, headcom will come, headcom will present. Don't worry, then we get, of course, the technical people will be there as well to support you, but you become the spokesperson of that organization. But for them to give you that trust, not easy. You have to show it first. That's what you need to have. I don't know how to put it in simpler words, but I need to explain. That's how you differentiate you, okay, versus others. Right? I hope I've not scared you guys. It's seriously, comm is fun. It's fun. It's a very fun profession, but it comes with a lot of baggages. You must be able to manage it. Then you should be okay, inshallah. Okay? Right.
Okay.
We have a question.
No, think I will after the session. So we have learned a lot that was very helpful, like so very helpful. But yeah, I guess that is we have the time for today. I really wish it was longer, but unfortunately we have limitations. So thank you so much. I will pass back to the Master of Ceremony.
Wow, what a very interesting and insightful discussion we had from our speaker and moderator just now. I believe there are so many important points that all of our attendees have taken note, wasn't it? Thank you also for the thought-provoking question from all of the participants and the detailed elaboration and explanation from our speaker. Brothers and sisters, let us now welcome Associate Professor Dr. Zeti Azrin binti Ahmad, the Head of Department Communication, also the advisor of IPRMSA IIUM Chapter, accompanied by Sister Nurul Iman, President of IPRMSA IIUM Chapter, to give the token of appreciation to our speakers. Firstly, please welcome Mr. Abdul Latiff Puteh, Managing Consultant and Founder of White Associates. Thank you, Mr. Latif. Next, please welcome Madam Nurul Emilia Diyana binti Abdul Malik, Lecturer from Department of Human Sciences, CFS IIUM. Thank you, Madam. Thank you also to Dr. Zeti and Sister Fatih. With that, we have come to the end of our program. Once again, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to both of our speakers, Mr. Latif and Madam Emilia, for spending your time today with us and also share what a beneficial knowledge with all of us. I would like to also thank to everyone for the participation and cooperation throughout this program. So, before we end, I would like to request everyone for photography session and video session for the memory. As a saying say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So maybe let us gather once again to have a photography session. Thank you.
Sorry guys. Oh, siapa ni? Oh, Zura. Mantap Zura. Thank you Zura. Hi Zura. Tutup lah. Pangkal je lah. End now.